Righty ho, so here on the show we've got my business partner. How cool is that to spend a bit of time with Danielle? Some of you might know her, some of you have seen her, some of you engaged with her before. Okay, Danielle's kind of like the polar opposite of me in so many ways. I thought for many years we were twins, but as our businesses have flourished over the years, Danielle's lent into other aspects of the business that if I'm really honest, I hadn't even thought about, probably given the right amount of attention to. So I think the combination of the both of us has worked really well. But she's out there and has been really successful building the Blue Sky Thinking Group over the last few years. So why not get her on, get some content created, talk about the kind of things the Blue Sky Thinking Group are doing to understand where their clients are right now, understand the problems the clients are facing, and the things that the company can do to help. So Danny, welcome.
Thank you.
Nice to see you with us. Usually you and I speak, and people might not necessarily know this, but we speak probably twice a day, on the way to work in the morning, on the way home of an evening. And so our communication nearly all of the time is on the telephone, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's really weird not having my drive in and drive home from work.
It's really weird not having that crackle from your Bluetooth that we've got going on. Okay. Just for the benefit of everyone that doesn't know, because some people won't, just give us the elevator pitch for the Blue Sky Thinking Group quickly, please.
So Blue Sky Thinking Group is a holding company, a management group for 3 different businesses. So Benepool, which is a HR online software program, and also has an employee benefits brokerage. So 2 elements of the business. Safe Hands, which is a first aid training and corporate wellness company, and Finsbury Associates, which is a personal wealth management company. So yeah, we manage very different businesses through very different businesses that all have some great synergies together.
Indeed they do. And right now, really, really challenging times for lots of people and lots of businesses as well. And, you can take the Simon Sinek approach that he says about working hard with the team to work out how everybody can take a little bit less and give a little bit more so that the company can go through that period. And then the other train of thought of, companies having to cut employees or make staff redundant, or this new word that we've learned recently, furlough. Okay, furloughing staff. That wasn't a word that we use. Social distancing, furloughing, all this fancy stuff that's coming about nowadays. And there's different trains of thought with that. There's companies from a cash flow perspective that have had to go, no, we can't afford these things right now. We've got to protect the business, and they've had to make large numbers of redundancies. And there's other companies that are sitting there saying, how do we keep this team together? What can we do to do so? And so is the Blue Sky Thinking Group affected differently, or do you have the same problems?
So I think each of the businesses, there's nuances which are different between each of them. Safe Hands has probably been the most difficult because we spend more time when we do first aid training. Obviously that is not good for social distancing, so a lot more energy and effort has had to go into digitizing our solution. The other 2 businesses, actually, Benepool lends itself to being a solution that's this market, and the fact that it's a remote HR cloud software. It's obviously doing well in this market, and obviously with the markets being as they have, Finsbury Associates, it hasn't been as difficult to sort of transition into the Zoom meetings as opposed to face-to-face meetings on the personal wealth management side. So already different challenges. We're very much in the space of keep the team together, keep motivation high, energy high, and just really trying to do what we can to make sure that the people who are the most vulnerable at the moment, so we probably have 5 or 6 employees out of our group who are isolating on their own, so don't have either flatmates or family members with them. Just really, really trying to make sure that we keep engaged from that perspective. And of course, people are getting lots of news from the outside world, from back home, from the UK, and it's trying to help and support from a HR and business perspective on that element as well.
So you've come up with an emergency response plan. Okay, you want to help other companies understand what to do, because I believe everyone, whether that's someone in charge of HR, a CEO, or an employee, goes into one of those three boxes to start with: the shock, then they go into fear, and then when they go into fight, and how they go into fight is a for different companies and different people at different time. I'm sure that there's people that are worried about income, that have got to survive through this period with no income support, and they've got rent to pay and food to pay for and stuff like that, and so they'll be in fear. But I think fairly soon getting into the fight mode of we need to do something about it. What kind of plans, preparations, and structures have you put together to help companies understand where they are, what they need to do, and how they need to do it?
So look, I think that from a business management perspective, we were really clear. And I think when we last spoke, it was probably 3 weeks ago. And at that stage, we were we'd split the business into one side of the business very much focused on revenues, one side of the business very much focused on operational expenditure. And that's still running in the same way at the moment. The response plan has really been more around the wellness strategies that we usually run in businesses. So Safe Hands, really well known for running these amazing programs that usually run over a 12-month period. And they look at all different aspects of health and well-being, both physical and mental well-being. And they're supported by this amazing network of different specialists in different areas. So from dietitians to physiotherapy, ergonometry, whatever the kind of topics, we have these partners. And what we found was that wellness strategy, as lovely as it is, 12 months is a long time at the moment, and people really can't see beyond when are we coming out of lockdown. And so we started to look at the things that we've done in our businesses, and our businesses have proven to be really, really resilient in this time. And the energy of the whole company at the moment is very much coming together and really focused on being the best we possibly can in this environment. And we were like, well, what are we doing differently? Because the businesses we were speaking to, some of them we weren't getting that same feedback. So where we were kind of like, you know what, we've been so amazed at how everyone's come together and everyone's doing this. We weren't seeing that across other businesses. So we started looking at the things that we were doing. So whether that's the fact that we start each week doing boxercise with Underdog Boxing, we have midweek yoga, candlelit 8 p.m. yoga. We are doing things, the kind of the socials, the quizzes, and all of those kind of things. And all of those things are actually, they're pretty simple to put together, but just time is just a precious resource at the moment. And so we decided that by replicating what we've done within our businesses, we could probably support lots of our other wellness clients and corporates in the market at the moment to get that boost they need, and take measures that really the next couple of weeks, in the same way as the social distancing and lockdown, those measures, the quicker you take them, the more effective they are. That's the same, we believe, in the stuff that we've been doing across the group over the last few weeks.
Okay, so go into that in a bit more detail. Give me some examples of exactly, because a lot of companies might not know what to do. You talk about morale, that's a really important thing, keeping everyone, their morale up. Is, those people that are living on their own, for example, I know that there's a lady that works for a company called Carla and Abdullah. Those guys live in essentially a 1-bedroom apartment on their own all day, don't they?
So they're in, they're isolating alone. We've got a couple of them actually. I think they're in opposite buildings. They can actually wave to each other. they can't have dinner, unfortunately. But so that's something that we've been super mindful of. I know that not only that though, sometimes the stresses of actually being isolated with a lot of people can be just as telling and stressful. You ask anyone at the moment who are homeschooling children and living with their husbands and tag teaming on the office. I know that myself and my husband, okay, now you've got to do your conference call now. Now I've got to do mine. It can be just as stressful and just have the same kind of impact and the toll mentally as what it would being alone as well. So the practical steps that we've taken. So we've done lots of things that are non-work related together. So as I said, exercise being really, really important and keeping people active. I think people massively underestimate the difference that makes. But also we've been doing sessions around mindfulness, so getting people to be able to cope with this time. A lot of people can't even begin to process what's going on right now, and so bringing in experts where they practice mindfulness, and they try and center people and allows people to become basically calmer, and hopefully minimizes the long-term effects of what we're going through, or what everyone's going through at the moment.
Absolutely. And so we take into consideration the people. Let's think about how companies deal from an understanding of their own business perspective. They've got to have some empathy towards their clients as well, I suppose, haven't they?
So hopefully, they understand that what's going on with any strategic partners and clients as well. But I think in terms of the emergency response plan that we've created, it's really about in the first instance it's an online assessment and getting kind of a base level of where everyone's at. I think sometimes it's easy to assume that, okay, well, someone they're with the family, they all seem healthy, everything's fine. You don't really know what is going on in that person's world outside of that. So our kind of initial stage is to do this kind of base level assessment to understand people's stress levels, sleep patterns, nutrition, activity levels at the moment, because obviously they're really different to what they would be in normal circumstances. And then following that, basically providing them with online webinars, interactive group get-togethers, whether that's Hangouts or Zooms, on the topics that are kind of the most prevalent or important, or we deem that come back with, okay, these are the areas that business needs to address and quickly. We've been supporting that as well with having the WhatsApp groups, and we're moving that onto Facebook groups now with the nurses, so the Safe Hands nurses. That's been really, really invaluable, I think, over the last few weeks. So many people, we see this a lot with parents particularly, where health issues and minor health issues with little ones, but just wanting the reassurance from one of the nurses that they're doing the right thing and that they don't need to seek further medical advice. So having that open communication for businesses and for the kind of community groups that we do that within has been pretty successful, I think.
What made you come together and put this type of plan together for people? Where did the motivation for it come from?
I think like Benepul, like Safe Hands, like all of the things that we've done, it came from us. So we kind of lived it the first couple of weeks. And then, as I said, from our strategic partners, and they were all saying, oh, we've seen you on LinkedIn and doing boxing together. And I spoke to this guy and everyone seems really upbeat. And we kind of went, okay, what are we doing differently at the moment to what a lot of businesses are doing? And I think from that, it allowed us to kind of take a step back, analyse it, and then, create a strategy that can be implemented really quickly, because I think, time is of the essence at the moment.
How long do you think the lockdown's going to go on for?
I honestly, I get asked this question. Everyone you speak to, right? How long is it going to be? It's supposed to end on my birthday, so on the 18th of April. I am not hopeful, so I think we'd probably be another 4 weeks beyond that. Is my opinion at the moment. Although we saw some of the manufacturing, and we saw the announcements late last night that some of the manufacturing and sort of the more basic supplies, obviously with the restrictions were lifted for them today. And I think yesterday was the first day that we didn't have any new cases registered. So look, they took really extreme measures here in the UAE. Let's hope that those measures have put us in good stead, and let's hope that we can come out of it quickly. Maybe we'll come out as quickly as we went into it. But I personally think we'll probably have another 4 or 5 weeks of full lockdown.
How do people get in touch with you so that they can get some help from you guys? How do they get involved?
If you go to the Safe Hands website, so www.safehandsuae.com, and if you go to the wellness strategy section, so wellness-strategy, and that'll take you straight through to the 14-day, and you can request more information. And there's also anyone who obviously reaches out to you centre and gets in touch. I'm sure you can connect us as well. So
sure. It's just one more time, go through those steps, okay, the things that people can do and what you can do to help make sure that everyone's really clear on what that is. Just go through them one at a time with me, just to make sure everyone, because I know I'll get lots of questions, and rather than me getting the questions, let's see if we can make sure we answer the questions now, and then we can feed those people directly to you guys.
Okay, so the first thing that we do is everyone within the business will receive an online health assessment or wellness assessment, and the data from that within a couple of hours can be collated, so we can see any kind of hot topics of, okay, you've got people who are, it may be that you have a lot of employees who don't have gardens or outdoor spaces or any space to exercise. It may be that you have employees who are isolating completely alone, and so they are really lonely and they need way more support in those social interactions. So we do that initial assessment. We then look across our providers and so the partnerships that we have, and we'll create over a 14-day period a calendar, a schedule, of which we'll have 4 external providers. So as I said, at the moment, Blue Sky Thinking Group, we're using, so one of the local gyms are doing boxercise classes for us every Sunday. That's been amazing. The feedback's been fantastic. We've got a yoga instructor who does a midweek yoga session on an evening, which has been really, really great, again, for that kind of calming mindfulness, but also the ergonomic stuff. So if you imagine we're all sat on Zoom for like 14 hours a day at the moment, the amount of back, hip, shoulder complaints, the fact that people can't see the chiropractors and physios, I know it sounds like really sort of basic stuff, but it's just things that people aren't paying attention to and will eventually show up on people's medical insurance premiums and people having time off work, because if it's not addressed, it will manifest itself to get worse. So we'll do those 4 sessions. We'll also support that with the Safe Hands nurses. So we'll give people access to Safe Hands nurses on both WhatsApp or for one-to-one Zooms, so that any kind of minor complaints or queries that they have, rather than having to go out and go and see a doctor at the moment, that they can check in with those guys regularly, which is I think really reassuring, and yeah, it's created a lot of peace of mind for a lot of people. The nurses are working pretty hard at the moment, I think. We'll also give people access to our digital first aid course across all of the members of staff, which of course allows people then to make sure that they have the skills to act in those minor incidents, the cuts, the bruises, the sprains, the strains. It means that they know what to do in those cases, and of course, as well as the CPR and the choking and the bigger stuff. So it's all packaged together. It runs over a 14-day period, and of course, we'll be looking to increase that and support for longer periods if companies require us to. But it's just really taking that quick action and helping support the employees that, as I say, maybe the most vulnerable right now.
And how much does it cost?
So it's 200 dirhams per employee, and there's a sliding scale. So the more employees you have, that comes down to, I think, a price point of 160, 170 dirhams per person. Again, we're trying to be really, really sort of considerate around payment terms and how that's structured at the moment. Again, knowing that people are feeling that financial pinch as well. So we're trying to support in any way we can there as well, payment terms.
So 200 tops if it's a smaller team. If it's a bigger team, then it drops down to 160.
So 200, 190, 180, 170. So yeah, depending on the size of the team.
Okay, perfect, excellent stuff. And if people want to get in touch with you today, they go to the Safe Hands website. They can find information there. If anybody listening to this or watching this right now is sitting thinking from a medical point of view, they might have some issues, or a mental health point of view, they might have some issues. Can they, if they pay the money, can they get access to the nurses straight away?
Yeah, I mean, look, we're really, really active on social media, and I think the Safe Hands nurses have done an amazing job at making sure that they've been available for everyone, anyone and everyone during this period of time. The nursing side of them was really, really, really shone through. So anyone who's struggling at the moment, if they reach out to us on socials, the nurses are super responsive, and yeah, they'll aim to get straight back in touch with you.
Okay, so there you have it from Danielle. I think it's important to understand that understanding your employees, understanding where their heads are at right now, understanding how they're feeling, and understanding what kind of steps that you as an employer, a business owner, someone who's in charge of a HR department, the kind of steps that you can take to try and be really kind of consciously aware of the state that people are in. Okay, look, not everyone's going to be in a bad way. Lots of people are going to be just fine. But remember, bringing people together, making people feel part of a community. You can see that even something as simple as that team exercise together helps lift morale and lift spirits. And I think that's really important for everybody at a time like this. We don't know how long we're going to be under lockdown for, but we do know right now that's where we are, and we've got to make the best of the current situation. So if you're interested in finding out more, get in touch with the team at Safe Hands. It's a really inexpensive way of offering something and demonstrating some commitment and some duty of care to every single employee. And we know what it's like right now, okay? We all want to think that our employer, okay, cares about us and has consideration for the potential situation that we might face ourselves in. Danny, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
I'll be up again with you later on today, but I appreciate your time.
Thanks.